The concept of an incel has really blown up over the past few years. From weirdos on R9K to what some would refer to as a hate group now, we've been inundated at this point with everyone giving their takes on how evil they are or how they're just misunderstood guys that need Daddy Peterson to whisper in their ear. But the whole framing around celibacy and access to sex just completely obscures the actual issues at hand. In a recent exchange between the streamer Destiny and the YouTuber Codology, that becomes particularly apparent. In this video, I'm gonna use that discussion to explain why I think incels don't really exist, and how the people who refer to themselves as such are really just facing the same problems everyone else faces, but are simply unable to cope with them, which presents a different issue entirely.
Alright, I've been saying that for years, man, that these guys are so hell-bent to try to create this SJW movement where they're trying to basically put themselves in a position as victims and in a position that they are being discriminated against. And I've said, look, man, like, there's no discrimination towards any group. I mean, the group incel or TFL, as some people call it, it doesn't even exist in the real world. It's not even a real group. There is no discrimination, right? There is no victimization. Right? It's just that you're unable to compete. That's the reality. You're not a competitive person. You're unable to compete. You're not a problem solver. So you decide to go and whine and complain about it. That's why you end up in these online communities, man.
Alright, so to preface this with an explanation for anyone uninitiated, Codology, who's made a lot of videos on culture, politics, and relationship stuff, recently talked to the political streamer / debater Destiny, which led to a kind of funny exchange in which Codology called herself an incel.
Do you claim that you're an incel?
That I'm involuntary celibate?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I don't want to be celibate.
I'm sorry,
I'm just trolling.
It's just one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life, so I want to hear you.
Destiny is of course being very dismissive of that notion. We've all heard the typical women can't be incels, but particularly with Codology, who's an attractive young woman, it seems pretty silly for her to call herself that. Incels typically being these unattractive loner men who can't get with anyone. On its face, Destiny is obviously right. Just mechanically speaking, Codology could very easily find someone to, well, do the deed. Codology reasons, though, that not only has she sustained some kind of sexual trauma, leaving her somewhat incapable, on which she expounded in a video following the exchange, she also brings up something very interesting. According to her, it's not that she can't find someone to have sex with, but that she can't find someone to have the kind of sex she wants with.
You'd be a volcel. You're voluntarily celibate, right? Because if you wanted to just bang somebody, it would be easy to do that.
Yeah, volcel, you're choosing.
I just want the sex to be good. I want it to be, a meaningful experience.
And this is the reason I'm talking about this at all. I'm not particularly interested in either Destiny or Codology. I think I've emailed Destiny on random topics like once or twice in the past. Outside of that, it's not really my sphere. But this exchange really highlights how completely useless the term incel is, and how it doesn't address the actual issues at all. Technically speaking, most incels could probably also find people to have sex with. I mean, just open up Grindr and you'll very quickly find someone to have intercourse with if it's really just about having sex.
What is this that he's putting on the screen? What is this, man? Some sodomite.
For. I'm sure most could also probably find some.
Yeah, I mean, don't go on no sodomy app. I mean, that doesn't count anyway. But I mean, look, even the standard apps, there's low tier females on there that are available at the end of the day, man. I mean, you guys don't want that, but that's what's available. I mean, but it's not going to be anything special. It's not going to be anything desirable. But it's still, you're not an incel, If you can get that, you're not an incel. Well, I mean, incel, that doesn't even exist. We're going to get into that later, but TFL, you're not a TFL if you can get a partner. Don't matter what they look like. I mean, you're not a TFL at the end of the day.
Truly disfigured person or something if it's that bad. Running with Destiny's definition, technically they are choosing to be celibate by not doing those things.
Leave a like if you want a video on Austin Holloman.
But that's obviously not what is being signaled when you call yourself an incel. It's not that they don't have access to the act of sex itself, just like Codology. They just can't find the kind of sex they want. And sure, you could still say that Kodology is pickier than the average incel. Most women probably are when it comes to selecting a partner, due to higher risks in regards to facing
Yeah, but you would be picky too if you went to, a different country and, you had a higher female to male ratio and you had the economic privilege or the economic power to be able to attract more of the opposite gender to you, you would be picky as well. It's just that the Western world is set up to give the opposite gender more privilege. That's the thing. So yeah, they're gonna be pickier. So what? I mean, if you don't like it, you know where the door is in the Western world. You can jump on a plane. But let's be honest, most of you guys are losers. You ain't got the cash, you ain't got the source of income, so that's why you're stuck. You're stuck in the basement.
sexual violence and so on, but that doesn't diminish her preferences. Either she's just as much of an incel as any basement-dwelling loser who calls themselves
Basement dweller,
that, or
see that?
no one is. To give a more reasonable version of the grinder argument, many incels also argue, for instance, that getting an escort doesn't count, which again shows that they don't just want to have sex.
Well, getting an escort would break your incel. I mean, these guys are retards. They don't even know the difference between incel and TFL. Getting an escort would break your incel, but it wouldn't break your TFL because you still can't find a partner. But these guys don't even know the difference between incel and TFL, and they're considering themselves to be a part of the movement. That shows you how dumb the people in those groups are.
Incel then doesn't refer to a lack of access to sex. It just means that you're simply not able to attract the people you want to attract. In calling yourself an incel, you're effectively just saying that you're unhappy with your
They're
prospects.
using the term incel
And you know what?
incorrectly.
Most people feel that way. Everyone wishes they could be with people out of their league. Everyone wishes they could be more attractive,
Of course.
confident, and successful than they are. Even women do. It's a normal feeling to be
Especially the
unhappy with
opposite
your lot
gender.
in life. It's what drives most of us forward. But what really sets someone who
Yeah, you think
considers
I'm happy
themselves
with my life? No, I'm not. But my thing and my channel is all about putting an end to your suffering. It's not about whining and complaining like a straight up grade A loser.
an incel apart though, is taking that frustration and molding your whole being around it. It is probably easier to find a
You're
hookup
going on the internet and molding your whole being around something that doesn't even exist. So creating some fake identity on the internet, LARPing on the internet. I mean, that shows you how pathetic you guys are, man. You guys ain't got no type of craft. You ain't got no type of skill set. You ain't got no ambition. You don't want to go out into the real world and make something of yourself. And that's why you can't attract anything of quality. Of course you can. You're a loser. And that's the thing. You don't understand that. If you didn't spend your time on the internet pretending and creating some fake identity for yourself, then maybe you'll be somebody in the real world and maybe you'll get somebody.
as a woman, because men happen to be less picky about their sexual partners. So what? Do you really think
So
that
what,
makes
man?
all the problems go away? It's
No,
a
it
fun
don't.
activity,
Especially if you
sure,
got
but
mental
having
problems.
access to it isn't what gives
need
you a
mental
fulfilling
health,
life.
man.
I mean, Kodology technically has access to that, and
Kodology
she
needs
considers
mental health
herself
as
an
well.
incel all the same. Most importantly,
Anybody
though,
that claims that
means the
label
word
needs some
itself
mental
has no
health.
meaning at all. No one is really involuntarily celibate. You're just saying you want things you can't have. That doesn't make
Absolutely,
you some special
100%.
group or whatever. You've simply
100%.
discovered the human condition and are unable to cope with that reality. So, to summarize, saying that Kodology doesn't fit the definition of an incel just because she technically could find someone to have sex with, even if they don't match her preferences, would also mean the same for 99% of incels, since they could
Absolutely,
also
100%.
technically find a way to have
They
sex
could
outside
find
of
it.
their
They could find
preference.
it. They could
Meaning
find it by, going to the lower tiers. They could find it by going overseas. They could find it via the paying. They could find it in a number of ways, man. Incel only really applies to people who are physically disabled or people who have like rare skin conditions where, nobody wants to get with them because they look contagious. They look like they can pass that on, and even prostitutes won't get with them. That's what incel is. Incel is when you're getting rejected by even escorts are rejecting you. That's actually what incel is. And these guys don't even know what incel is because they're retarded, man. Like the whole incel community is a bunch of retards. They don't even know what incel is. Incel is when you get rejected by prostitutes because you've got like some rare skin condition, or there's people out there who like they got fur on their body. And actually, one of those guys managed to find a partner. I don't know how, but like they look like Chewbacca. There's people out there. They look like mythical creatures. Those guys are actual incels. They make up like a fraction of a percent of the population. These guys don't even know what incel is. They use TFL and call it incel because that's what shows you how dumb these guys are. TFL is when you can't find a partner, right? Most of these guys are not even real TFLers, but if they were, they would be TFL, not incel.
The word in its common usage is obviously not just referring to a lack of sex. Incel then simply seems to refer to being unhappy with your dating prospects in general, wanting to have access to people outside of your league in some way or another, which is pretty much everyone. So the term basically means nothing at all. People who commonly refer to themselves as incels just seem unable to cope with reality, which more than anything just points to a mental health issue rather than some problem with the sexual marketplace.
A lot of these guys need to be locked away.
With the label of incel, it becomes much easier to tackle the actual issues people have. One person might struggle with social anxiety and has a hard time approaching people. Someone else can't do basic hygiene, and someone else entirely might just be a slob in general. Those are issues in and of themselves that make someone highly unattractive, sure, but they should also be tackled on their own terms, separate from just wanting sex or a partner. You should strive to get your shit together for your own sake. Sex will not solve anyone's problems, and neither will a relationship.
They're too lazy, man. They ain't gonna get nothing together, man. A lot of these guys will fade into obscurity, man. They're just gonna end up jumping off the building or something. I mean, these guys ain't got no type of work ethic. They don't want to listen to the unreal, man. They don't want to hustle and grind. They don't want to improve their situation. They don't want to work hard so they can go overseas. They don't want to start businesses. They don't want to do nothing, man.
Especially looking at people in their teens and early 20s who seemingly have resigned from life just because they can't get some punani.
Doomers, man.
Spend your energy on getting good at something or enjoying things, not chasing some unrealistic social media version of what you think sex or
Get
love
off
looks
social
like.
media. Stop living in Disneyland. Anyway, that's the video. Let's look at these comments. You're gonna see these guys are gonna be crying in the comments section. Let's have a look. This like comparing the situation of a child, right? The situation of a child who is homeless and starving to a guy who's getting mad because his Lambo is the wrong color. Men and opposite gender do not have it the same. Who said they have it the same? Who said that, dummy? Nobody said that. Guys' standards are low and reasonable. No, that's not true. I don't have low standards for relationships. I don't. That's not true. I got pretty high standards. And I don't cry and complain because the opposite gender meeting my standards because I'm not delusional like you. But also relationship, they can get anyone to care about them. The opposite gender get bombarded with attention. And people, why do you care about that? So you want to be, see, you should become a transsexual. You're a sodomite. You're talking like a sodomite, man. Oh, the opposite gender is getting attention. Why you want to be treated like a woman? Because you're gay, man. This guy is gay. And look at how these guys are talking. I don't care about attention from opposite. I don't care. Like, that's the thing with these guys. A lot of these guys, man, like, they want to become transsexuals. That's the real truth about these guys. They don't want to be men. They don't want to be men. Like, this guy clearly don't want to be a man. What's wrong? I told you these guys, man. I mean, they're a disgrace. Let's look at some more of these comments. The average guy 4 to 6'10" can be rejected by a 3 or a 2. What's your point? The average guy 4 to 6 can also get accepted by a 7 or 8. And oh no, don't tell me you ain't seen that. I see that all the time. That alone answer a lot of questions. That don't answer nothing, bro. I approach 8 girl on the street. Most of them below average looking. I'm 5'11". Okay, 8 girls, bro. That's nothing, man. Like PUAs are saying approach 20, 30 women a day. And you're talking about 8 girls in 1 year, man. You're living in Disneyland, man. These guys are talking absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense, man. I disagree with what you're trying to say. Being an incel doesn't mean wanting somebody out of your leaving. I think you mean out of your league, not at all. Is wanting someone to love you. So now you know your argument been defeated. You see that? He know his argument been defeated. So now what is he doing? He's flipping the script. He's changing the narrative. Oh, you can't find somebody, period. You can't find anybody. Now it's about true love according to this clown. See, because he knows his argument been defeated. That's what they always do because their argument has got no weight to it. They're frauds, man. Absolute frauds. I disagree with this video. Other people don't find you attractive. Well, that's your own problem, man. The kidology is using the term incorrectly. You use the term incorrectly as well, dummy. I just explained it. You're dumb yourself. You don't even know the difference between incel and TFL yet. You're out there talking about they're using that. See, you criticizing the opposite gender, but yet you're the same guy doing it, man. Because you're dumb. That's why. You're dumb, man. You ain't got no type of IQ. No type of IQ whatsoever. I respectfully disagree with this take. You're right in your argument that incels could acquire no, it's not GAYSEX. It's called sodomy, okay? That's what it's called. Maybe only 5% or less could connect with her on a more, I don't care about emotional level. That ain't got nothing to do with incel. Most incel want relationship. See, that's TFL, dummy. They don't even know what they're talking about. That's TFL. If you want a relationship, that's TFL. Such cope. Just lower your standard, bro. Look at this dude, man. Just take a look at this guy. Everything is a joke. Just lower your standard, bro. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. Nobody's forcing you to lower your standard. It ain't my fault you got low IQ, man. For it to be voluntary, they have to up themselves. It is voluntary because you can visit an escort, you can go to a different country, and you can also get a lower tier opposite gender even in the real world as well. Have you done any special research? Newsflash, there is no research out there. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about a fraction of a percent of the population of guys who ain't willing to improve themselves, man. There is no research. There is no research, bro. Stop living delusional, man. Anyways, man, that's all I gotta say. Sound real, man. Hatred for the manosphere. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you aren't already, and make sure to hit that notification bell so you're informed every time I upload a new video.